Walker currently has his art on display in the art gallery, and Governor Shapiro spoke at the Midwife Center about women's health.
Plus, PennDOT is enforcing a statewide work zone speed safety camera program, and a convenience store in Pennsylvania has sold 3 top prize winning tickets for over $2.5 million. All this and more right here on WCTV.
And now, your 5 o'clock news on Channel 14.
Hello and welcome into the Newscast Live at 5. I'm Michael McKenzie.
And I'm Joey Cirillo.
The Benedum Fine Arts Hall displayed new pieces of art this week. The new pieces of art were a part of visiting artist Andrew Walker's works. His main message with these works was reaching the light. In his statement, he says, quote, "Reaching for the lights is what many of us are trying to achieve. The light could be many things, such as family, fame, or God." Walker has created multiple series in the past, including a series where he used an iPad and Apple Pencil to create art promoting awareness for his own chronic illness, Alport syndrome. The art will be up on weekdays from 8:30 a.m. until 4:30 p.m. until Friday, April 5th.
Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro and his administration are tackling maternal health issues. Members of the Shapiro administration visited and spoke at the Midwife Center for Birth and Women's Health on March 8th to announce their new efforts and to address maternal health issues in both pregnant women and babies. This comes as the rate of pregnancy-related deaths has risen not only in Pennsylvania, but as the country as a whole. In PA alone, there are 82 pregnancy deaths related to 100,000 live births. Acting Secretary of Health for the state, Dr. Deborah Bogdan, said, quote, "Every death of the new mother impacts their entire community. That is why the Shapiro-Davis administration is fully committed to tackling maternal health issues that are affecting women all across the state," end quote.
On March 5th, the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation and the Pennsylvania Turnpike Commission started to enforce the statewide work zone speed safety camera program. Signed by Governor Shapiro in December of 2023, the new program now allows for safety cameras to be set at active work zones with active workers on the scene. Since February 15th of 2024, there was a testing period with warnings being distributed to the registered vehicle owners who violated the speed limit. For the start of the program, first offense will be a warning, second will be a warning and a $75 fine, and the third will be a warning and a $150 fine. Since 2022, there have been 1,293 work zone crashes in Pennsylvania, relating to 14 deaths. This will be a permanent program within the PA Turnpike system until further notice.
U.S. Marshals and police have made a third arrest in connection to last week's shooting that wounded 8 high school students at a bus stop in Philadelphia. 19-year-old Jermod Carter was arrested Tuesday afternoon. U.S. Marshals said he was hiding at a family member's home and was taken into custody without incident. Carter was wanted for attempted murder, firearm violations, and related charges. Authorities say they're still looking for one more suspect. They say that the person had the opportunity to turn themselves in by Wednesday morning. After that, officials say they will aggressively pursue him. Last weekend, 2 18-year-olds were taken into custody. Police say the group of 4 suspects was inside a stolen vehicle when they fired at least 30 times at the bus stop crowd, wounding 8 teens. A 16-year-old victim was initially reported to be in critical condition, has since been upgraded to stable.
If you play the lottery and you're looking to improve your luck, a small convenience store in Pennsylvania may just be the ticket. In just over a year, the Commissary Food Market has sold not 1, not 2, but 3 top prize winning tickets totaling more than $2.5 million. Aziza Schuler has the story.
I won 4 times. Not a lot.
A lot of people coming here for try to win the big money.
And in fact, they do. Since last winter, Sheetal Patel has sold 3 top prize winning Pennsylvania lottery tickets totaling over $2.7 million. On February 18th, 2023, a $1.4 million scratch-off ticket was sold here. Then, January 23rd, 2024, Patel sold a Monopoly Fast Play ticket worth more than $259,000. This past Saturday, another one of her customers hit the lotto, winning $1.1 million.
It's just a lucky store.
There's good karma here.
And regular customers also believe that good fortune has a lot to do with the woman behind the counter.
She's just nice. And she greets me by name.
If you get somebody miserable, you sell them tickets nobody ever hits.
So it's her that's lucky.
Her, yeah. She's lucky.
Yeah, I'm lucky.
Yeah.
Patel says she's never played the lottery a day in her life, but seeing her customers win is a blessing.
I don't know how we lucky, but we are lucky. Maybe the God gift that we are lucky.
Patel's most recent winning ticket sale came this month when one of her customers won $1.1 million on Saturday. Former special counsel Robert Hur testified about his investigation into Joe Biden.
And the House passed a bill that could lead to TikTok being banned when we come back.
Welcome back to the Newscast Live at 5. President Joe Biden is campaigning in the battleground state of Wisconsin today, working to quell age concerns and convince the American public that he's capable of serving another 4 years. The president's age was back in the spotlight this week when former special counsel Robert Hur testified in Congress about his investigation into Biden's handling of classified documents. Our Washington correspondent Julia Brenberg joins us from the White House to talk about the impact the testimony could have on the 2024 race.
The former special counsel's testimony came just hours before President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump secured the number of delegates needed to win their party's nomination. While the hearing on Capitol Hill gave lawmakers in both parties a high-profile opportunity to score political points, only time will tell if it had any influence on voters. During Tuesday's House Judiciary Committee hearing, several Democrats went after former special counsel Robert Hur for his comments about President Joe Biden's memory lapses. Hur referred to Biden as a well-meaning elderly man in the report released last month about his classified documents probe.
President Biden probably committed a verbal slip or two during the interview, and I'm not sure any of that matters.
Republicans pressed Hur on why he didn't charge Biden, despite the evidence of classified documents in Biden's possession.
But in the end, it boils down to a few key facts. Joe Biden kept classified information. Joe Biden failed to properly secure classified information.
During his testimony, Hur strongly rejected the assertion that he'd exonerated the president, saying he didn't even use the term in his report. But the White House says Hur's decision not to charge Biden is evidence the president is innocent.
The facts and evidence over 15 months of investigating prove that there is no case here.
Lawmakers also focused on the criminal charges former President Donald Trump faces for his handling of classified documents. Even though Hur has nothing to do with that investigation, his report noted the distinctions between the Trump and Biden cases. Among them, Biden's attorneys notified the National Archives of the materials found in his possession. In Trump's case, the National Archives repeatedly tried and failed to get back the documents. At one point, the FBI secured a search warrant for his Florida estate. The classified documents case is just one of the legal issues Trump is facing. In total, he faces 88 criminal charges across 4 indictments. As for Biden, he's hoping to put the classified documents issue in the rear view and build off momentum from his State of the Union address. He's scheduled to visit several key battleground states this week. Reporting at the White House, I'm Julia Benbrook.
The House passed a bill Wednesday to ban TikTok in the U.S. if its China owner ByteDance doesn't sell. The bill passed of a vote of 352 to 65 still faces an uncertain path in the U.S. Senate. If passed, it would lead to a nationwide ban of the video app. TikTok's parent company ByteDance would have 5 months to sell the China-linked social media platform if the bill is enacted. The new owner of the social media app would have to meet with the approval of the U.S. government. If ByteDance does not do that, the bill would prohibit TikTok from being available for download in app stores. President Biden says he would sign it into law if it makes it to his desk. Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson is urging the Senate to take up the measure, despite the fact that former President Trump is against it.
The prosecution and defense gave their closing arguments in the manslaughter trial of James Crumbley. James Crumbley could face up to 15 years in prison if convicted, and his wife Jennifer Crumbley was found guilty of the same charges last month. Ivan Rodriguez breaks down the latest from the courtroom, as well as Crumbley's decision to not testify in his defense.
This case is not about what happened inside of Oxford High School.
During closing arguments, James Crumbley's attorney pleaded ignorance on her client's behalf, saying he did not know his son had gained access to the gun and didn't believe there was an imminent threat of danger.
If the prosecution had evidence that James knew that his son was accessing firearms without his permission, the prosecution would have shown you that. But you didn't see it.
The prosecution arguing Crumbley was not only irresponsible, but acted with gross negligence, saying it's his fault the weapon wasn't secured properly and that he ignored warning signs regarding his son's mental health.
This case is not about holding James Crumbley responsible for what his son did. It's about his legal duty and his failure to perform it, or to perform it in a negligent way.
With the jury out of the room, James Crumbley, unlike his wife Jennifer in her case, decided not to testify.
It is my decision to remain silent.
A key difference between both trials is the prosecution's focus on Crumbley's decision to buy the gun for his son and how it was stored.
You hear him say the gun was hidden. You hear him say that there was some doodling on a paper, that he was a perfect kid. But here's what he never says. He never says, I don't know how we got it.
Jennifer Crumbley's case was the first time a parent of a school shooter was held directly responsible for the killings. A jury now faces another historic decision. I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
2 Palestinians killed during an Israeli raid in Jenin in occupied West Bank. 2 Palestinian men were killed and 4 others injured in an Israeli military raid on the city of Jenin in the occupied West Bank on Wednesday, health officials said. The men were killed after Israeli soldiers shot at the group of civilians standing in front of the Jenin's government hospital emergency department, the hospital director said. He confirmed the death of Rabi al-Nouraseh and Mohammed Abu Haji, who died after sustaining severe gunshot wounds. CNN has reached out to the Israeli Defense Forces, or IDF, for comment on the shooting outside the Jenin hospital. The IDF published a statement on its Jenin incursion Wednesday, saying, quote, its fighters uncovered and destroyed charges planted under the routes with the aim of harming the troops, end quote, adding that the IDF arrested a wanted man. Videos obtained by CNN show Israeli military vehicles and bulldozers storming the city of Jenin in the early hours of Wednesday. Bulldozers can be seen destroying streets and sewage lines and downing electrical poles. A total of 6 Palestinians were killed in separate incidents, hours apart from each other, occurring around East Jerusalem and the West Bank on Wednesday, health officials said. The number includes a 12-year-old Palestinian boy who was shot and killed by a border police officer and the Suwajafat refugee camp in occupied East Jerusalem. The IDF said the boy, quote, endangered the forces while firing aerial fireworks in their direction, end quote. Additionally, a 23-year-old and 16-year-old were shot in the town of Al-Jib, north of Jerusalem. The IDF said the Palestinians threw Molotov cocktails during a security barrier fence, which runs along the Israeli settlement of Givat Zavi. The toll also included a 15-year-old Palestinian boy who was suspect of a stabbing attack at the military checkpoint between Jerusalem and the occupied West Bank and the West Bank city of Bethlehem. The IDF said, in quote, IDF soldier at the scene was slightly injured and taken to the hospital.
Drivers in Arkansas will no longer be able to list a gender other than their birth gender on their driver's license. That's after a 2010 policy allowing gender-neutral drivers to list X as their gender was rescinded Tuesday. The listed gender must now either be male or female as listed on a birth certificate. The new rule takes effect immediately, and officials say licenses and IDs already issued with the X designation will remain valid through the existing expiration date. The ACLU of Arkansas said policy changes like these threaten the safety and dignity of the state's transgender, intersex, and non-binary communities. Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders calls the policy change common sense. That's going to wrap it up for national news. Up next is Haley Ryan with your business and entertainment, but first we take a look outside with Seth Adams with the weather.
Absolutely gorgeous day on campus here. Has been all day, but we do see some of those clouds leering in. But stay tuned to figure out if we're going to have some showers right here on WCTV.
The Greene County Humane Society is holding its annual Furry Friends 5K on March 23rd at the Greene County Fairgrounds. In order to register for the event, scan the QR code in the bottom right corner or visit ticketstripe.com/furryfriends2024. All dogs in attendance must be up to date on vaccinations and kept on a leash. Check-in at the fairgrounds is at noon, and the 5K will begin at 1:30. Don't want to take part in the Furry Friends 5K? No problem. At the Greene County Humane Society, located at 183 Jefferson Road, there will be a pet socialization event from noon to 5. There is an opportunity to adopt at the Happy Tails event. Applications to adopt must be completed by March 18th. To find an application, go to greenpet.org/adoption-application or scan this QR code that's on your screen. All proceeds raised at the Furry Friends 5K and the Happy Tails event will go to the Greene County Humane Society in order to help animals in need.
Welcome back into the Newscast Live at 5. I'm Haley Ryan. Wednesday, the House passed legislation that could ban TikTok in the United States unless the app parts ways with its Chinese parent company. In Indianapolis, a well-known TikTok influencer is concerned. He's sharing the benefits the app has brought to millions of users. Meredith Hackler has more.
Brandon Buckley, known on social media as B. Lee, has 100,000 followers on TikTok, a platform that's helped him live out his dreams.
Brands like Rihanna Savage Fenty to Fashion Nova and to a lot of different brands that help build, your platform to another level. And so when that happened, I was able to bring lucrative income in different ways.
Before Buckley was an influencer, he worked with kids. To this day, he tries to give back to the youth in Indianapolis, something he says would be more challenging without TikTok.
That has brought a better connection with me with youth here, even in the city of Indianapolis, and without TikTok, that wouldn't have happened.
But now there are concerns that TikTok could be banned as a bipartisan bill is making headway in Congress. Banning the app is something Buckley feels violates Americans' freedom of speech.
Here in America, we are free to do whatever we please to, and that's a dream, and we're free to make our dreams come true. And so by banning it, it's just telling us, like, here's a slap on the wrist. You can't be creative. You can't do these things because it's not controlled.
Which experts say legal challenges are likely if the legislation is signed into law.
Could this be an infringement on people's freedom of speech if TikTok is banned?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Generally speaking, the Supreme Court frowns on what it calls prior restraints, what we call censorship by the government.
For influencers like Buckley, though, he's focusing on ways to continue building his brand and spreading positivity along the way.
I'm just planning. That's what it is.
The measure's future in the Senate is uncertain, but should it pass there, President Joe Biden has said he will sign it. Sibling songwriting duo Billie Eilish and Phineas O'Connell set a new record at the Academy Awards Sunday. They became the two youngest two-time winners in Oscar history, picking up the Best Song trophy for a second time. The song What Was I Made For was their contribution to the Barbie soundtrack. The brother-sister team previously won that prize for writing the title song for the 2022 James Bond film No Time to Die. Eilish is 22 and now the youngest two-time winner in Oscar history. O'Connell, 26, is thought to be the second youngest dual winner.
What would you say to a young
The
person
latest
right
inflation
now?
numbers were released Tuesday, and while prices ticked up slightly in February, there's some good news about the economy. Jen Sullivan breaks down what the latest numbers mean for your wallet in today's Consumer Watch.
The latest inflation numbers show consumers are still grappling with higher prices. According to the latest Consumer Price Index report from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, prices ticked up 0.4% in February from the month before. And over the last 12 months, prices rose by 3.2%. But the full report has both good and bad news for consumers.
You cannot look at a single data point alone. You have to look at a trend.
Dr. Brian Marks, who teaches at the University of New Haven, says the pandemic drove up inflation, but recent global events are still impacting prices, like Russia's war in Ukraine affecting oil and turmoil in the Middle East diverting shipping routes.
Shippers are paying higher premiums for insurance, and they're passing that along to the extent they can.
While these latest inflation numbers are slightly higher, when we look at the last few years, inflation is much lower than it was in February of 2022. Here's where it's hitting consumers most: housing and gas. Rent in February was about 30% above pre-pandemic levels, according to Zillow, and gas prices are up 3.8%. According to AAA, the national average cost for a gallon of regular gas as of Wednesday was $3.40. Here's some good news. Overall, the price of food did not rise, and hourly wages are rising.
Wages are actually increasing above the rate of inflation, but not by so much that it's putting that upward pressure on pricing.
For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
A new movie in theaters this weekend checks a lot of boxes. Popular actors, a tropical setting, a friendly dog, and it's based on a remarkable true story. David Daniel has a preview.
3, 2, 1. I was a young boy living in the city. All I did was run. Over the next 10 days, these athletes will cross 400 miles climbing, biking, and kayaking.
Mark Wahlberg leads an adventure racing squad that picks up a four-legged teammate in Arthur the King.
What is it, boy? Oh, God. Can't believe I almost walked right off that cliff.
The film is inspired by former racer Michael Lindnord's popular memoir.
When you take on the responsibility of telling somebody's real-life story, there is a level of sensitivity and respect that just ups the ante quite a bit.
Think you found your new partner in suffering, Michael? Yeah, he's the king. I think we should call him Arthur. Arthur the King.
The shoot put Wahlberg, Simu Liu, Ali Suleiman, and Natalie Emanuel through many of the same physical challenges as real adventure racers.
It's one of those special occasions where people come for all the right reasons, and they kind of put aside their own, kind of selfish desires as individual performers and what they can get out of it, and really want to kind of contribute to the overall better of the big picture.
You want to start to embrace the buckets of pain?
I need a bigger bucket.
The pain will subside, and the movie hopefully will live on forever, and honoring and immortalizing Michael and his relationship with Arthur was far more important.
Guess what? I'm not a dog person.
In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Don't go anywhere. Coming up next is Logan Lepiscopo with sports.
You're watching WCTV, where we aim to bring you the best local coverage of what you care about most. Everything from local businesses to hometown sports and the latest weather. We're keeping up to date with what you need to know about issues that affect our campus and our community. We're telling the stories that matter, celebrating our past, our future, and our potential. So tune in for all the latest buzz right here on WCTV Channel 14, Waynesburg.
Welcome back to the Newscast Live at 5. I'm Logan Lepiscopo with the latest in sports. Spring sports are in full effect here at Waynesburg University, and the baseball team hosted Hilbert College yesterday. The Yellow Jackets dropped the first game of the doubleheader 4-1, as Hilbert's Dylan Morehouse improved to 4-0 on the season after going a full 7 innings, allowing 1 unearned run while striking out 5 Yellow Jackets. Waynesburg had a team batting average in Game 1 below 200, but freshman Trent Giraffa was able to go 2 for 3 at the dish. And senior Mike Bell got his 100th career hit, so congratulations to him. In Game 2, the Yellow Jackets swapped to their all-black jerseys and bounced back, putting together 7 runs on 13 hits. 5 Yellow Jackets hit 500 or better in this game, and they hung up 4 doubles on Hilbert's pitchers. Zach Scabelli got credit for the win, and Mike Bell, on top of his 100th career hit, came out with his 2nd career save. The baseball team is now 6-4 with their first conference doubleheader on the horizon. This Saturday, the Waynesburg University Yellow Jackets will host the Geneva College Golden Tornadoes. Game 1 is at 1 p.m., and last season, Waynesburg dropped both games to Geneva and has not beat at Waynesburg since March 20th, 2021. The softball team is currently hosting an out-of-conference opponent, Carlow University. Game 1 ended in a Waynesburg 2-1 victory, and the ladies scored 2 unearned runs in the bottom of the first, and that would be just enough to get them past the Carlow Celtics. Game 2 is currently underway, and you can catch the coverage on the PAC Digital Network. The softball team will be at John Carroll in University Heights, Ohio, Saturday for a doubleheader beginning at 1 p.m. Waynesburg's men's and women's outdoor track and field teams will travel to Bethany College for their first meet of the season. And wrapping up Waynesburg spring athletics, the university's women's lacrosse team will travel to New Concord, Ohio to face the Muskingum Muskies, coming off an 8-6 win over Sweet Briar last Saturday for the first W of the season. Now, let's take a trip over to Division I level, talking about Pitt and West Virginia athletics. WVU baseball currently has a 10-7 record with 2 straight wins. The team will get back out on the diamond tomorrow at 6:30 for the first of a 3-game series at home against the Ohio State Buckeyes. The University of Pittsburgh's baseball team is currently 9-5 with an 0-3 conference record. The Panthers will play tomorrow as well to begin a 3-game series at home versus ACC opponent Boston College. First pitch is at 3 p.m. For the Pitt softball team, its record is 8-15 while being 0-3 in ACC play, and the ladies will travel to Blacksburg, Virginia to play Virginia Tech Hokies in a 3-game weekend series. The first game of 3 is tomorrow night at 6. The Pitt Panthers men's basketball team lives on after an 81-69 win over the Wake Forest Deacons. The Panthers will go to face the UNC Tar Heels tomorrow night at 7. And March Madness is almost here. Selection Sunday is this Sunday, March 17th. Who will be in, who will be out, who is bound to get an upset, and who will be this year's Cinderella team. Michael McKenzie at the desk said he'll have a perfect bracket, but we'll see just how long it lasts until all the brackets are broken for this tournament. Moving on over to the rest of the newscast, or rather the rest of sports in the professional league, I should say. The NFL had free agency just start up, and the black and gold made 2 big-time moves. Star linebacker Patrick Queen has been signed to a 3-year, $41 million deal, and Super Bowl champ Russell Wilson got a deal that Pittsburgh will have to pay just $1.21 million out of its own pockets. The Steelers also traded away wide receiver Deontay Johnson to the Carolina Panthers, and in return received Dante Jackson and a swap of 7th-round picks in this year's draft. Since trading away Jake Getzel, the Pittsburgh Penguins have lost their last 4 games. The Pens will look to snap that losing streak tonight at the PPG Paints Arena versus the 16-41 San Jose Sharks. That's all for your sports update, but don't go anywhere. Seth Adams is coming up next with your full forecast for the upcoming week. Sports information and athletic communication majors here at Waynesburg University take on the responsibilities of the pros. As a sports information athletic communication major, you'll take on tasks such as talking to coaches, public address announcing, tracking and spotting live stats, as well as running those stats to the TV and radio announcers, and keeping the crowd occupied with the live video board. We have alum currently working for the Washington Wild Things, Akron Rubber Ducks, the Miami Dolphins, and numerous Division I programs. So what are you waiting for? Come here and join us at WU.
Hi, I'm Seth Adams, and here is your weekly weather update. It has been a beautiful day here on campus, sitting in that lower 70s, and it's been sunny a majority of the day. If you saw my tease earlier, you saw there was a little bit of an overcast and there's a chance of possible showers and rain later into the night. But tonight we will drop to a low of 59 degrees around that midnight mark, and that is going to be the high for Friday, as it will stay around the upper 55, 60 degree mark area until around 3, where we will see another drop in temperature and some possible rain showers in the afternoon with a low of 45. Saturday, however, the sun will poke through those clouds again, and in the afternoon we will reach a high of 58 and low of 36 in the early morning. And Sunday will be a cloudy in that typical March weather, as we see a high of 51 and low of 36 with another chance of rain. Monday, it will really feel like March again, as the high is only going to be 40 degrees with a low of 29 and cloudy the whole day. Quite a shift from today, huh? Tuesday, pretty similar with a high of 41, low of 26 and cloudy. And finally, Wednesday, it will be partly cloudy with a high of 45 and low of 29. That's all I got for you guys. Sending it back to the desk.
Thank you, Seth. It really does feel like March. A lot of
really
college basketball going on.
Exactly.
The weather's great, and I am going to get that perfect bracket. Logan and Fisco is right. But that's going to do it for the Newscast Live at 5. Thank you for tuning in. For everybody on the desk, everybody behind the scenes, stay tuned on WCTV for more Waynesburg content.
This has been a production of Waynesburg Community Television.